Week's episode, Hawkeye hits a bullseye for Disney Plus. Are we entering the house of Gucci? And are we hungry for a slice of licorice pizza? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows, and if you can, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, the Lakers Fast Break, Vampires and Vitae, and everything that we do here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. In fact, we are the numero uno tabletop RPG streamer on Facebook. We have a number of games each and every week right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. Plus, we dropped tons and tons of news stories, articles, and anything relating to the world of pop culture that we think we need you to know. That's right here at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. So please like our page so you get the latest news and information, all the video interviews that we do, and also all the tabletop RPG action from all the great things that we do on the weekend with DM Mitch, with Roger, with Victor, with Rob, and my co-host. It is greatly appreciated. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. She is the mastermind, I'll add in again, evil mastermind behind many of said games on Pop Culture Cosmos. You got to check out what she's doing today with her awesome shows, starting with her biggest hit, Vampires and Vitae, plus also as well, I do not want to go ahead and underestimate all the great things she does with Whiskey and Wine, Warlocks and Whiskey, and also as well Wizards and Wine. It is my good friend indeed. It is Melinda Barkhouse. And Melinda, great to have you back, my friend. This was one of the best weeks ever for pop culture news because I think I'm going to go into a nerd cry, Melinda, because two of the greatest things that's happened to me in Nerdville happened this week.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Tell me all about it.
Well, this has been actually a prophetic year for me in
Okay.
Pop Culture Cosmos because for years I have been asking for a Black Widow movie. And sure enough, came out.
Mhm.
Almost too little, too late. But it did come
Right.
out.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish it would have come out sooner, but that's another story altogether. We already touched on that on many occasions during the course of when it was out and in viewing at the box office. But this week, not one, but two of my favorite pop culture properties got mentions as far as development is concerned. The
Oh,
first of
man.
which, and all this drops with Josh and I, because Josh and I have been talking about this for years. And wouldn't you know, this drops the day after Josh and I record.
Of course.
And that is Ridley Scott in his interview trail doing the car wash, the publicity car wash, as they call it. When you're going through and talking all the interviews and doing all the interviews. And there, he's talking about what he has on the plate. You know, what is he still doing at 83? What is he still doing to keep motivated? What projects is he still into? And two of the things that he mentioned is an Alien TV franchise that's coming up, maybe a TV series coming up that he's developing, but also a Blade Runner TV series that's in the works. Yes. And
I did hear
so
about that.
Yes.
And immediately thought of you.
So yes, so Alien for Josh and Blade Runner for both of us and everybody here at the Pop Culture Cosmos that loves Blade Runner. Going to be seeing a continuation. May not be the third movie yet that we sorely need from Denis Villeneuve or Ridley Scott. Would love to see that, but hey, he's developing a pilot for the Blade Runner TV series. We don't know who is attached to yet. If it was for the Alien side of it, it is already attached to Hulu because that's a Fox property. So that's already a done deal right there. God forbid they would show that on Disney Plus, but that's another story altogether. But yes, they are developing. He is developing at the same time concurrently a Blade Runner and Alien series, and I know Josh is going to want to talk about that on the Monday show, so that's not going to slip by him. But the other big news is that
Yes.
Deadline was reported that in development, as far as they're not only talking about what they brought out with Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime, which people need to check out. It's gotten very positive reviews, and it really looks like it's something that really people need to get into. And you've got Amazon Prime subscriberships up there, so you please, there's no excuses. Check it
Yeah.
out. Check it
Yeah.
out. It's really worth your while. But in talking about Amazon's Wheel of Time, they also talked about the Lord of the Rings series that's coming next year.
Right.
How it's already developing its second season, where they moved from New Zealand to Australia to England. They're now doing their second season now in the UK.
Okay.
They also talked about something I have been burning at both ends on every soapbox I could actually get onto for years now, and that is right above my head on this side,
Oh.
right there, and that is Mass Effect.
Uh-huh.
Mass Effect TV series is rumored. They're circling around. Amazon is circling. So it's not confirmed, but when they say they're circling and Deadline is already reporting on it, that means the gears are turning.
I
The
have to
gears are
admit,
turning.
Gerald, of all of the games that you and I have played in together, I don't think I have ever seen you more excited than when we were playing the Mass Effect RPG.
Yes. It's just something I've loved so much,
Everybody has their thing, Gerald, and Mass Effect for you for RPGs was definitely it.
That was
It was the
the
most
most
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the most fun. Shout out to Mitch, who does a great job DMing those type of games, and hoping to get a chance to sit in a game with him at the not too distant future. But it is Mass Effect. Amazon is circling around a possible series, and then actually to get this far to be reported on Deadline means it's close to fruition. So this is something I've been sorely asking for years. Even before I started the Pop Culture Cosmos show, I was talking about this way back when Legendary had the rights to a film, to make a movie of it, back when they were just making films and were talking about something like this for a series. They were talking about this just in retrospect to movie. That's around 2011 when Mass Effect 3 came out, and that series was already at its height and its build. They were talking about doing a movie at that time, and Legendary held on the rights for years, but it seems like Amazon now is securing the rights, or at least in the process to. So for Deadline to mention this, it gave me a nerd cry, Melinda. It gave me a nerd cry.
Well, maybe perhaps Nerdy Santa is just coming to you early this year.
Oh my gosh, it's just the best week
Yeah.
ever for pop
Mhm.
culture for me. I mean, all these things I've been asking for finally starting to come true this year. Some of it is, it's all welcome, but I wish it would have come out sooner in the case of Black Widow. But you know what, with Mass Effect, just where you could go. I've already talked with this about with Josh in detail, and I
Mhm.
probably will again on Monday's show. But just the places you can go. I know someone on the internet was kind of questioning it. He wasn't sure to go, and then I had to go ahead and say, I usually don't talk on the internet. I usually respond in kind, but I had to go ahead and say, you know what? With all the different races, species, sub stories, and also all the things that you can take from the outstanding novels that were produced in that time during the first 3 game run. We're not counting anything as far as Mass Effect Andromeda. That was a disaster. That can stay in a galaxy far, far away. But anything that was produced during that time, as far as the stories, the novels that bring a lot of the backstory, plus also anything mentioned from the discovery of all the protein artifacts that got us into the Mass Effect drives,
Mhm.
to where the first contact war, where we first meet the Turians, and it just goes from there as far as it's turned into evolving into humans' right to be a part of the galactic society on the Citadel, and all that stuff that you're playing in the video games. It's just so much lore. There's so much that you can go into. I know that for Amazon, they'll probably just want to get right into the story of Shepard and have him go ahead and save the galaxy. That's the easy way to do it.
Mhm.
But if it's a success, I'm hoping at one time they'll go ahead into the backstories. And I'm also hoping that they'll go ahead and create a series, a spin-off series for FemShep and give her a chance to go ahead and shine as well, because
Mhm.
she is one, for it's almost a 50-50 between when people go ahead and play between a male shep and a female
Right.
male shepherd and a female shepherd. And to me, it's just something where if they have not only the chance to go ahead and look at this from the perspective of a male shepherd, but also from a female shepherd and branch that off as well. It's just so many possibilities for a Mass Effect series. I'm so glad that they're finally jumping on it. Yes, Electronic Arts is in the process with BioWare to making another Mass Effect game, probably extending the Shepard universe in some form or fashion from the first trailer that was made and produced this time last year. But I'm still just so happy for Amazon if they go ahead and finally do it.
Yeah, I'm happy for you if they just go ahead and finally do it.
Just so thrilled. Just so thrilled indeed.
Just overcome with emotion.
Yes, and I know Josh and I are going to talk more about this on the Monday episode
Yeah.
because he will talk Alien ad nauseum for an
Mhm.
Alien TV show. So I'm sure his brain is running a mile a minute on that, on what Ridley Scott said this past week, and also as well we'll be talking Mass Effect. So check that out on Monday's show. Looking forward to that indeed. But for this week's show, we still got plenty more to talk about, including you've got an interview on tap, don't you? Coming
I
up after
do.
the half-hour break.
Yeah, I do. I managed to wrangle Martin and Katie, who are two of the creators of Defiant, which we touched on last week. It's very late in the night in Poland, but I managed to get a hold of them, and
You wrangled them.
I did.
You're
And
like you're roped. You got that rope. You're
Yeah, right. All the way from Las Vegas right to Poland. And we just had like a super casual, laid back conversation. Me as both a fan and a backer of their Kickstarter. I do want to be upfront about that. I did kickstart it, but I got nothing for doing this interview. I just want to let everybody know that off the bat. Nothing other than a little bit of satisfaction in my nerdy heart talking to a creator of a
did you
property that I've grown
go
to
into a
really love.
nerd cry?
Yeah, I almost nerd cry.
Okay.
So yeah, I know it was a really great interview, and I do know that they have and want their first expansion coming out this coming Monday. So you can pick up the PDF or print on demand right now. They're doing like pre-orders for the hardcover book. We talk about all of that in the interview, which you can check out.
And that's coming up after the half-hour break. Melinda's interview with the folks behind the Defiant tabletop RPG, which you can support today as well. Plus, also as well, our holiday gift guide on the back end of the show with some of our ideas as far as things that you might want to pick up after the big bad rush of the holiday season as far as Black Friday is concerned. There's still many things you probably have to get before holiday, before the Christmas season, before Christmas. So we'll go ahead and mention some of the things that we like that maybe you'll like as well coming up on the back end of the show. Plus, we're going to be talking about 3 movies coming out this weekend, 2 of which have Oscar aspirations, and actually all 3 have Oscar aspirations because Encanto from Disney Animation has been released. We'll talk about that. Also as well, The House of Gucci, Gucci, and the
Mm-hmm.
worst Italian accent I could do. That's coming up as well on Thanksgiving. And, of course, the last but not least, a little movie that's under the sun from a famous director, the famous director of Boogie Nights. It is Licorice Pizza. So we'll talk about that on the back end of the show as well. But for the rest of the few minutes that we have left on this front side, I caught the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye on Disney Plus
Oh
because
gosh,
it's
I
out
have
and
not.
about.
I haven't watched yet. I know we've got Hawkeye to catch up on. We have Wheel of Time to catch up on. We were busy watching Cowboy Bebop the last few
Yes.
nights.
What do you
Yeah.
think of Cowboy Bebop so far? I've seen 5 episodes.
Okay. I can't remember how many I've seen. We've
What
seen a
did you
lot
like it?
though. I've really enjoyed it.
I know this is so divisive out on the internet right now.
It
I'm
really
I'm in
is.
favor. I said on the Monday show I really enjoyed my time so far. I plan to go back with it, and like you, there's so much there to see as far
Yeah.
as the Cowboy Bebop. But out on there, I mean, Arcane, I got to finish Arcane. Blade Runner, Black Lotus. I mean, I've got to finish so much of this stuff
Yeah.
that's out there as well. I'd catch up on. But yeah, your thoughts on Cowboy Bebop before we hit up Hawkeye?
Uh, you know what? Really enjoying it, and I know that before the show came out, there was some talk about questioning. Oh my gosh! Of course, I
John
can't remember her
Cho's
name.
age, everything in it.
Yeah, it's all it's all a non-issue. Just sit down and enjoy the show.
It's
Really,
quirky, it's stylistic,
what I
it's
love
over the
too
top. It's
is
that's yeah,
the very first episode is almost shot by shot the same as the first episode of the anime,
yeah.
which I adored. I thought that was very, very smart. They were like, "Hey, look, we can do this, or we can do this." And then the second episode, they just seem to be like ramping it up bit by bit by bit by bit. And yeah, we're hooked on it for sure.
Some of the episodes seemed a little bit too bloated, especially when going into character backstories. They tried to go ahead and lengthen them out. But you know what? I think there, for the most part, I have had a really good time with it. I am excited to get back into the rest of the series. I'm really enjoying what I have, what I see there. All three of the main characters deserve major props as far as
Yeah,
it's concerned,
I
because I
agree.
think they are really good, and they, you know what, they most importantly, they really work well together. That's the
Yes.
most important thing to me. Just they really work well together. I cannot
And it's believable for them to be working together.
yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's to me is the best thing about it, because of the fact that it's just seemingly a lot of people were like, we're very worried about how this is going to fit and how this is going to work out. And they weren't sure if this is going to be, be something that it's going to click. And I know that still all over the internet and all over the critics, it's like some will love it, some are loving it, some are hating it. I'm going to tell you right now, Mustafa Shakir, he is truly sensational. John Cho is solid as what he's doing.
Yes. Absolutely.
Mustafa Shakir takes the show for me.
Yes.
Daniela Pineda, Pineda, if I can say that right. She is really good too. She's a scene
Yeah.
stealer. I mean, they just click. They all just
Mhm.
click. They all just work very well. The villains are a little bit hit and miss, but they're over the top, But most of them are just like one note, one episode, bounty of the
Yeah.
week. They're gone. So
Yeah.
really, it doesn't, it's not that bad of a deal whether or not you like them or not like it. They'll be gone by the end of the episode. The overarching storyline for John Cho's character is intriguing. So you
Mhm.
get to find out about his backstory and things of that nature. So you see how it all ties in from there. I'm having great fun with it.
Yeah, and that's to me, I know people, and you know what? I'm the worst when it comes to, for example, Star Trek, as we've talked about before.
Mhm. Which we got
I
to see both of us with Discovery.
right? Yes. But what happens is you get so caught up in trying to make sure that the IP that you love remains the IP that you love when it comes out in an interesting way. I think you get so caught up in trying to make sure that it stays close to the original that you forget to just sit back and have fun
Doesn't
with the
entertain
show.
you, doesn't
Yeah,
keep your interest.
that's the bottom line. And if it does, then it must be at least okay.
And the
And
thing
I think
is, well, I just want to say this: Josh is like you. He is familiar with the anime, and
mhm,
is like you, and he gave it a positive review.
yeah,
With me, I haven't seen the anime, and I'm giving it a positive review. I
yeah.
kind of actually think if you haven't seen it, you might like it more.
Come here. Come here. Come here, husband. What did you think of Cowboy Bebop?
Oh, Robbie Ross, who's
Yeah,
on with
here,
us for the
here,
Monday
here.
show,
Come
is
on,
here.
say hello.
Hello.
What
Headphones if I'm
what
going to
did
have a
you Oh, okay,
conversation.
hang on. What did you think of Cowboy Bebop?
Well, I don't. Many things. I think that the preliminary press heard it. I think that unfortunately, a very understandable reaction from our main lead female before any context was around was justified from her, but it wasn't good for the marketing aspect of the actual project. Because if you watch it, she's pretty fantastic. I think she kind of nails the
Yes.
character, the ideas, everything that Valentine was about. I think that the dual sexuality was handled exceptionally well. Her being, like in the middle. I think that was I think that worked. I don't think that you needed the costume to make the character. The actress was going to make the character no matter what you're going to do. Was Iron Man because of the suit, or was Iron Man because of Junior? Like there's a huge aspect to that as well. And I think that had they had a little bit tighter lid on their actors to begin with, I don't think there'd be any controversy in the show at all, because I think that the show was actually quite good. Was it exactly what it was in the comic book? No, but like you're never going to be able to do that unless you're specifically doing that with something like, oh God, what is that Miller film?
Sin City?
Yes, Sin City. That was made to be a shot by shot, redo. Because Sin City was made to be a Frank Miller reboot, exactly as the graphic comics were. But that's not what they're shooting for with Cowboy Bebop. I think a lot of that information came from, we should give some freedom to the creators of old IPs. It can't just be a reimagining. It does need to be within their hands. And I think that they were quite gentle with it. We haven't finished it yet, so I don't know that. I'm looking forward to see what, the take on Ed. I've heard that that's brought up a lot of controversy on the internet right now, but I haven't seen it. But I also did really enjoy the show. So
same here, my friend. Same here. What I've seen so far in 5 episodes, I really like, and I want to get back to it. Although you both and I have a ton of stuff we have to catch up on here. That's amazing that all the stuff came out. I told Melinda that November would be a busy month, and
it is.
It is.
I mean, there's nothing better than watching TV shows and having leftover Thanksgiving sandwiches as you're dripping a little bit of, of cranberry juice on your brand new sweater that you got for the Thanksgiving ideal. So yeah, I mean, this is prime time for people that are looking to jump into shows, because you may be off, you may have an extra week, for the holidays. This is when they kind of drop their big ones, and there's so much more coming out too.
Oh gosh,
yeah.
Did you know Wheel of Time is out?
It's all the way out. It's on Prime right now.
Yeah.
I did not know
First 3
that.
episodes are already out, and then dropping new ones every Friday.
Yeah, that's a one that we're not going to unpack on this one, because I'll sit with you for a full 3 hours if you want to go over Wheel of Time.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I do want to see the show first before I have any opinions, and I think that's kind of a bad thing that's happening in society right now. People have opinions before, how can you make an opinion on a trailer? Mm-hmm. Like watch it first and then have your hot take. It's my personal opinion.
Oh, there you go. Indeed. It is Robbie Ross. You got to check out his whimsical one-shot every Tuesday. Plus, also we'll catch him as part of the Demolition Force as we go ahead and find any which way to give havoc to Roger's Day, the GM for our Monday show, any way we can, every Monday on the Pop Culture Cosmos. But Robbie,
thanks for having me. Yep.
Can't wait to hear your thoughts on Warhammer.
Next week. We got, it's not just me, the community as itself when it comes to Warhammer is they're in a tiff, and I got a video to show you when you get offline of like, do you really want to jump into this? Because Warhammer is
she's a beast.
She's a beast, and there's a lot of different opinions. Oh God, I know we're a cute couple, but did we have to match?
I know.
Too? Anyway, Thank you for having me on. I'll see you guys next week, and we'll be talking about some Warhammer stuff.
There you go. Can't wait for the ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yes.
Thanks, babe. Yeah.
So before we hit the half-hour break, I want to touch on Hawkeye real quick and the 3 movies that are coming out this weekend. So Hawkeye came out to Disney Plus, the first 2 episodes. Hopefully you get a chance to see it. It sets up a lot in regards to Kate Bishop's character. Plus also as well what Hawkeye is doing in New York. I'll leave it at that. So if you haven't caught it yet, please go ahead and do so. I will say that I've got pretty good vibes from it so far. I know it's a slow burn, and it's going to be for everyone out there. But the Die Hard themes, it's setting itself to be something like that. And by the end of the second episode, you start to see it trend towards that Die Hard type feel. So it is trending in a good situation. You start seeing some things that are setting up. There is some character building that really works, and some that needs a little bit more work, and some that needs a little bit less screen time. But for the most part, Kate Bishop is the character that is being built in this series, really is doing well. Haley Steinfeld is really doing a good job. She is born to play this character. I really have nothing but the greatest things to say about her. Jeremy Renner is along for the ride. I'm not sure if that means he's tired of doing this character and we're seeing the end of Hawkeye soon, but it looks like for him it's just something that, it works in this situation because he's very frustrated that he just can't have a Christmas, just have a Christmas with his family. So everything
Right.
is going awry in his
Yeah.
life. So hopefully his comments during interviews in regards to, his character and how long his character was going to be around, I hope they don't come to fruition as far as an ending for him, because I like to see his character continue even beyond this Hawkeye series. So we'll see. But I know this is geared also as a setup for the Kate Bishop character. And Haley Steinfeld, I think, is doing a really great job. So, Melinda, when you do go ahead and catch the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye, I think you'll really be pleased that you did.
Fantastic. And you'll know because as soon as I watch something that we've talked about, I message you through the
Yes,
whole
you did.
thing. I
At
just
any
blow
time
up.
of the day. We were talking at CSI Vegas at like 1:00 in the morning. Yes, I
Yes.
remember. But I'm up, I'm editing, you're editing, so it doesn't really
Right.
matter. So we're always
Yeah, it all
editing
happens.
something. Yes. I think when you and I die on our gravestones, it says still editing. There you
Yeah.
go. There you
That's
go
what it
indeed.
should. Oh my gosh, what a great epitaph. All right. I gotta write
But
that down.
but if you have any thoughts out there on Hawkeye on Disney Plus, the first 2 episodes, or Cowboy Bebop, the series, if you finished it, I'm trying to see what I can do to finish it this weekend. Good luck on that with everything out there, including Star Trek Discovery, Blade Runner, Black Lotus, Arcane, and everything else that's coming out. I'm going to try and
Yes.
do what I can to go ahead and finish it. But if you have thoughts on the very controversial and divisive Cowboy Bebop, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, before we hit the break, Melinda, I wanted to go ahead and ask you real quick about 3 movies that have hit by the time people hear this on their podcasts and radio outlets. 3 movies will have hit because they were released on Thanksgiving, and that is first off Disney's Encanto, which should be the box office leader of all 3. This is going to be something that could earn as much as $70 to $100 million worldwide in its first
Wow.
weekend, which would be a good for something that didn't get as much ad or screen time as I thought it would or thought it should
Yeah.
for a Thanksgiving movie. I
Mhm.
saw more advertising on the House of Gucci, to be quite honest with you, but Disney's
Same, yeah.
Encanto, while it isn't maybe getting as much advertising time, it is getting a lot of positive reviews out there. As Disney's Encanto, IGN just absolutely loved this film. I know that a lot of other reviewers have absolutely really enjoyed this film. Comparatively speaking to some of the other stuff that's come out recently from Disney Animation. So
Sure.
I'm really thinking that a lot of people are enjoying their time so far with this. So I know that this is going to set up again as the box office winner this weekend. It probably will not do as well as Ghostbusters Afterlife this past weekend or the Eternals, but still, for a Disney animated movie where families are still kind of reluctant to take their kids out in times like these, what are your thoughts on Disney's Encanto?
I am looking forward to seeing it. It's probably not one that I'm gonna hit up the theater for,
Mhm.
but I am looking forward to seeing it. I always enjoy sitting down to watch, some Disney movies. I always have time for that. So, if I can break myself away from rewatching The Emperor's New Groove and Beauty and the Beast on Disney Plus, as soon as it hits Disney Plus, I'll definitely be taking that one in. I think it looks beautiful, first of all. I love the animation that I've seen so far for it.
Yes.
It looks whimsical and fantastical and magical. I know that's a little on the nose because that's kind of what it's about, but yeah, no, very excited for it. I will definitely be making some time to check that one out.
This one looks like it's a really good story. It's
Yeah.
based in the mountains of Colombia. It looks like it's something that really people will enjoy. I love the fact that Disney and Pixar are just going through the gambit of different cultures to just educate younger audiences and everyone about the different cultures that are around this great world of ours. So hopefully people get a chance to see it. It is getting solid reviews right now. It's got an average of 76 on Metacritic. So people are really liking what they're seeing from Encanto. But before we hit the break, 2 other movies are hitting
Mhm.
this Thanksgiving, and one is The House of Gucci. So get your
Yes.
bad Italian accents out there. This one is really being divided. This one seems to me a lot like Cowboy Bebop because the reviewers either love this movie or absolutely loathe this movie, and they cannot say enough about it. Lady Gaga obviously is in the leading role with Adam Driver. Jared Leto under tons and tons of prosthetics where you can't even recognize what he looks like. It just is amazing as one of the members of Gucci. Al Pacino's in this, Salma Hayek, an all-star cast. This is Ridley Scott's directing the film. I'm sad to see it's not getting the universally loved reviews. I plan to see this as well at some point down the line. Your thoughts on the House of Gucci? Gucci.
I am intrigued by Lady Gaga as an actress. Sorry, as an actor. And I will forever be watching things that Lady Gaga does and the things that Lady Gaga puts out. I think that she's an interesting artist. I think that she's compelling on screen. And I will probably be waiting for this one to hit some kind of streaming service. I don't think that I'll see this one in the theater either. But it's not because I'm not interested in the movie. I think it's just I'm not intrigued by Gucci enough to, make my way out to the theater to see the movie.
Aye, what's the matter, you? Gucci, Gucci.
Yeah.
Just
Gucci,
for that,
Gucci.
you must buy 5 Gucci bags right now.
Yeah, no, I can't afford
All
that.
right. Yes,
Gerald, you
can.
don't pay me enough.
You buy. But it is House of Gucci. It's available now out in the theaters at the box office. It'll be very interesting to see the kind of response from the box office that it gets. At the specialty box office is the last, but certainly not least, an individual who has earned a lot of acclaim for a lot of good movies in the 90s and 2000s, and that is director Paul Thomas Anderson, again, who I mentioned earlier as being the director of Boogie Nights. And as someone who grew up in the Southern California area, he again takes part in a movie that he directs that is directed on the San Fernando Valley in that area that he is, I guess, very familiar with because he loves going back to that area in the 70s and things of that nature. So this takes place in the San Fernando Valley in 1973. This deals with mainly two young protagonists, a young lady and a young man, in regards to the fact, about a growing of age story and about them falling in love, and offshoot as far as the characters that are still side characters, which are major actors like Bradley Cooper, Ben Stiller, Sean Penn. They're all a major. Maya Rudolph. They're all a part of this movie as well. John C. Reilly, who's been in Boogie Nights with Paul Thomas Anderson previously. They're all incorporated as side characters in this. The thing that gets me, though, is not just Alana Haim as the leading lady in this. It's the son of, I think it is, I want to say Philip Seymour Hoffman, his son, I
Oh,
believe,
wow.
is playing
Okay.
this. And if I'm not mistaken, I have to check that for sure. But I think it is it Anthony Molinari? I'm going to check to see if that's the case. And if it is, I think he is the actual real life son of Philip Seymour Hoffman, which is very intriguing to see that he is taking up the role, if that's the case. But your thoughts on the rest of the movies that are coming out? I mean, your thoughts on Licorice Pizza, because again, this one is earning real high acclaim. This is actually getting a 93 on Metacritic. People are considering this as one of now the front runners for the Oscars. If the House of Gucci is not, they're considering this as. So I want to hear your thoughts on Licorice Pizza.
I honestly have been apparently looking at all of the wrong things because I haven't really heard a lot about this film.
Okay. Well, it's
Perhaps,
going. I mean, even though it has a lot of these bigger, larger actors, it is going a little bit under the radar.
sure, yeah, and I'm wondering if perhaps my algorithms for the things that I, routinely look at aren't keeping it from showing up on any of my feeds or anything like that. That this may be the case. Perhaps I'm a bit too geeky for it to pop up on the screen. I don't know, but I'm certainly intrigued by your description. So I'm gonna have to go and make sure that I sit down and have a peek at the trailer and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, if that is the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman,
No, actually, he's not. That's my
okay.
I was mistaken. Somehow that was thrown my way. I guess I was incorrect on that. So
The World Wide Web of misinformation, huh? Gotcha.
yes, Skylar
Yeah,
Casando.
gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
it happens. But yeah, no, I mean, the title alone, Licorice Pizza, that's interesting.
yes.
I mean, I wouldn't want to eat that, but I'll see what it's about.
It's definitely something that is going to be very interesting come awards time if it's remembered and if it actually gets. Actually, yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman's son is starring in there.
Okay.
So yeah, so it is. It is something. It is listed. I'm looking at two different articles now. That yes, that's Philip Seymour Hoffman's son starring in Yeah, in Licorice Pizza. So it is. So I want to make sure who I get to correct. So Cooper Hoffman.
Yeah.
Cooper Hoffman is in the film, and yes, he's never acted professionally in a film, but he jumped into Licorice Pizza on this. So yes, he is in the film in a role. So look for Cooper Hoffman in this. But yes, definitely looking forward to seeing Licorice Pizza when I get the chance, and hopefully everyone out there will as well. But if you have thoughts on this weekend's releases for the Thanksgiving movies of the weekend, including Encanto, Disney's Encanto, Licorice Pizza, the very much beloved by critics movie that's out there in limited fashion. It's not exactly in wide release as much as the other big films. And then, of course, The House of Gucci, and which stars a big cast. It's directed by Ridley Scott. If you're interested in Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Al Pacino, Jared Leto, Selma Hayek, Jeremy Irons, they're all a part of this cast. If you want to check that out, please go ahead and do so. But if you have any thoughts on the films that have come out for this Thanksgiving, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, coming up next is Melinda's interview with the creators of the fascinating tabletop RPG Defiant. Is Melinda going to be defiant with the folks behind the Defiant RPG? We're going to find out next. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the show. It's the PCC Multiverse. Melinda, that was a tremendous interview that you had with the folks behind the Defiant RPG. Any last thoughts on your interview, or did you want to go ahead and any special word, or give anybody a shout out, or just tell everybody where they can, and once again, where they can get a hold of the Defiant RPG with more knowledge on it?
Yeah, that was one of the things that I mean, our interview was a half an hour. I'm sure we could have talked for 2 hours because we were just really set it up as like this little casual conversation. So there were a couple of things that we didn't get to that they wanted to make sure I mentioned for them. You can still pre-order the book through the Kickstarter page. So if you go to Kickstarter and just do a search for Defiant, you will find the book, and then you can order a copy of the hardcover book when it's released. They're still counting on February, but there's a paper shortage right now in Europe, and so they're having a hard time kind of sourcing a few things that they need to get the books done. But as far as I know, their editing specifically for the book is still in progress. They do have their supplement for the book coming out on Monday. So you can check that out. It's a little bit of a fix or maybe an alternate take on one of the origins that are in the book. And yeah, give it a chance. Give it a chance because I think that hard, fast role players are really going to dig this game and really enjoy it a lot. So I can't talk about it enough, and I'm sure that people close to me are very tired of hearing about Defiant.
No, I don't think they are. They want to hear more about why Defiant could be the next great tabletop RPG. So
Yeah, it's an intriguing game. It's very RP heavy, and as the storyteller or the GM of the story, you kind of follow the player's leads. You don't really, have your story arc. You have the idea of what you want to do, and then you sit down at the table, and the players have different mechanics that they can use to add things to scenes and take things out of scenes and move things in different directions. The GM is there to paint the picture and to insert NPCs as necessary. It's really interesting. I like it a lot.
well, there you go. Indeed, please check out on Kickstarter today, Defiant RPG, and it'll come right up for you. Please go ahead and support this awesome cause, and go ahead and support this great tabletop RPG coming up in the not too distant future. Defiant. But before we head on out, Melinda, I want to thank you so much for that fantastic interview once again. Hopefully this will be the first of many that you have on our show, because you've got a full background in doing this back in Canadian radio.
I sure do, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So please, we got to hear more from you, more great interviews. Looking forward to that down the line. But before we head on out, wanted to throw out, since Black Friday is done, and before we get into Cyber Monday, which I will go ahead and talk about with Josh on the Monday show, we'll sneak into some Cyber Monday deals as far as it's concerned on the Monday show. But for you and I wanted to go ahead and hit up some general holiday gift ideas that maybe people can go ahead and take with them, not just now and have to get this weekend, but maybe in the next 2-3 weekends, as an idea that pops in their head and say, you know what, that'd be a good idea for this person. That'd be a good idea for that person. So what do you have on your plate, first off, as a great holiday gift idea for that pop culture lover in your life?
Okay, mine is kind of taking the content creation side of pop culture, some of my suggestions. And I know that, for example, the backdrop that you usually see, the red and black that's behind us, it's down right now because we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. But that fabric came from fabric.com. Just give me one quick second here.
Okay, fabric.com.
I know that they have a sale coming up right now on a bunch of fabric. So what we did for ours were we just went and we bought some 1-inch PVC pipe and some elbow joints and T-joints. And that's what our background skeleton is. And then we just kind of made a pocket on the top of the fabric and we slipped those over the top, set the cameras on top of that. And that's pretty much our setup for Vampires and Vitae for the stream. We got all of our stuff, our fabric and things through fabric.com. So if you're looking at doing something along those lines, or you want maybe to change up the backdrop for your stream, that's going to be a great option for you over the next little bit, because I know that they do have some big sales coming up. I also know as well, and this is a bit more of an investment, perhaps a Christmas present to yourself. If you've been looking to upgrade your streaming setup or your podcast setup, we are not in any way sponsored by Rode, but I am obsessed with the Rode products. So you see here, I'm using the Pod mic. I also have the Rodecaster Pro as my board that we've been using to record all of our stuff. I know that Sweetwater has some pretty good deals on it. And it's basically, you open it up, you plug it into your computer, you plug in the microphones, and you're ready to record your podcast. It's that easy. And I know that a package with 4 microphones, the microphone stands, and all of the cables that you need, they have that full setup for about $1,100, which is so much cheaper than what I paid for my setup when I first bought it. So keep an eye out for that. And I know they also have a single host setup as well. So you still get the board with the 4 mic channels and your sound pads and all of that stuff. But instead you get 1 microphone, 1 stand, and the cord. And that's around like $750, $800. And that also is a steal, because that's usually the price of the board itself. So if you're looking to, up your game a little bit, or you want to get into it, this is going to be some break-in prices for you if you want to do that. Another thing that I can speak to, because we use them every single Sunday, is our cameras that we use. We use the Elgato face cam. And the Elgato face cams need USB 3s. So it doesn't work on my laptop, but it works on my big computer. So keep that in mind if you're looking at those. I don't know totally what their prices are going to be on the cameras in terms of any Cyber Monday sales or anything like that. But I'm sure that it's going to be impressive. And if you don't snap those up, I have a feeling that they're going to sell pretty quickly.
They usually start, they start around $199.
Yeah, they're right around $200. So even if you save $50 on those and you get, 1 or 2 cameras, that's going to save you a pretty good chunk of change right out of the gate. And that is something that I think that you could buy and give to a content creator in your life. One thing, though, to keep in mind about the Elgato cameras is that they do not include microphones in those cameras. So you have to have separate audio for that particular camera. But the advantage is that you can control the ISO, you can control your shutter speed, you can control just about everything that you need to be able to control when it comes to video. So that's super handy. And you can save the settings. The cameras have their own little processors in them, and you set them up one time. And then when you open up the software, it automatically reloads all of those settings back into the camera. So you don't have to go through, readjusting everything every single time you open up your apps to run your cameras, which is huge. And what's the last thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, ring lights. I'm sure that those are going to be on sale somewhere. They have to be. It's like an essential piece of equipment for anybody who's looking at doing any kind of streaming. So keep an eye out for those. You're going to want 10 or 12 inches, though. Those are the ones that I have found. I have ones that are like 8 inches. They don't throw enough light, and the rings aren't big enough to really get a wide area if that's what you're after. So you want a 10 or 12 inch ring light if you're looking to get a first time setup for that. And, there's a lot of them that can change colors, and they have 3 different settings for a white light. They're dimmable, all of that kind of stuff. Things to keep in mind if you are looking for a ring light. So I'm sure there's going to be some deals on some of those higher end ones. So keep that in mind too.
Now, for someone on a little bit budget, Terry, notice I would probably say Logitech cameras, because Logitech cameras are solid, 1080s usually for the most part. So you can get the higher ends of 4K, but I would, if that's the case, I would go with the Elgatos. But the Logitechs do have microphones built in if you want to just go ahead and have something basic for doing interviews and things of that nature. If you want to get into a little bit better accessories, then you probably want to get into some headsets. And I would probably say there are several headsets that are out there, whether it's Audio Technica or any other name brand that's out there. Make sure you test out for the microphone and read reviews on the microphones itself, primarily if you're going to use it for streaming. I mean, I've had great success with this one. You're going to see right around the $200. That's when you see, I think, enough quality from the microphones to go ahead and use for streaming or podcasting purposes. Anything from 200 on up, or they could be on sale right now. A lot of them are on sale. Those $200 ones around 100. A lot of them are taking $40, $50 off. So keep an eye out on some deals there. Shure and Blue microphones are also on sale right now. I have seen several ads that have noticed that put on notice for ads for discounted Shure and Blue microphones. So they might not be as good as the pods, but they still are very, very, very good and very highly rated.
Absolutely, yeah.
For podcasting out there.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a Sennheiser microphone or a Shure microphone. Even their $30 versions of their microphones are still going to sound absolutely fantastic. So that is absolutely an option.
There you go, absolutely. Yeah. But brilliant suggestions from Melinda for me out there as well. I want to go ahead and add on a couple more things. If you are looking for another decent headset with crystal clear communication that's actually geared more for the business environments, I'd probably say Aftershok's OpenComm microphones are good for the business side of it, especially if you do a lot of stuff from remote as far as customer service, or you're dealing with a lot of teleconferencing or Zoom conferences. Probably say that is a premium headset to go ahead and get. And I know those are running some really good prices, right around $150. So you want to check out the Aftershok's OpenComm microphone. I'd go ahead and look into that. As far as maybe on the more pop culture side that we talk about with video games, I'm going to probably say everybody's talking about Halo Infinite coming out that first week of December. I want to talk about the other game that's coming out the first week of December that a lot of people should be aware of, and that's Dying Light 2, which has really looked good to me. Really diverse, expands so much more upon the game itself from the previous first iteration, and the fact that it gives you dialogue and life choices similar to what you saw originally in Mass Effect, and choices that will affect your future in the game and how that transpires. I'm really looking forward to that as far as Dying Light 2. Of course, the traversal, the fighting, the things of that nature that you experience with the zombies and all that, plus the fact that you're also fighting a lot of different factions, human factions within the group, makes the intrigue factor even higher as well for Dying Light 2. So while everything is going to go as far as hype is concerned for Microsoft with Halo Infinite, don't forget about Dying Light 2 coming out that first week of December. And last but not least, I want to point out that, yes, we noted on our Black Friday special that IR Arcade had a big Black Friday special going on with the arcade cabinets that it has. Well, the leader in home arcade cabinets, Arcade One Up, you shouldn't forget about them because they've got a nice variation of arcade one ups, not only in regular outlets like Best Buy and Walmart and Target and all that, but if you go to arcade1up.com, you want to go ahead and check out what they've got. They've got a very interesting array of stuff there, especially if you're interested in specifics that are only available online. They've got a lot of great machines that are there, everything from the Tron machine that's coming on the way to the Terminator 2 Judgment Day a rail shooter machine that they've got there, Killer Instinct, Ridge Racer. They've got they've got a parents and kids bundle where the parents have their own machine and the kids have their own tiny little machine you can get as a bundle. That's so cute. You got to check it out. Plus, also as well, for those that love to go ahead at the arcades and go to the photo booth, they've got a Polaroid at-home instant photo booth, which is a great party gimmick that you could go ahead and buy there, and looks really cool to have. So go ahead and check that out. Plus, all the dozens of arcade machines that they have at arcade1up.com. Really liking what I'm seeing there. So if you have, and pinballs, they got pinballs now. They got digital pinball machines. They got Pong machines. They've got obviously the old classics there as well. So if you're interested in picking up either maybe a countercade for your countertop or a full-fledged arcade unit, go ahead and check out arcade1up.com. Any thoughts?
Yes, I want a pinball machine. Is that what you're giving me for my Christmas bonus this year?
Maybe if the Wisdom app helps us out on that. So we'll see. But we'll see. We have to get done all that they're asking for from Wisdom. So
yeah,
we'll
right.
We'll see what happens there. But it
tiny
is
details.
Tiny details indeed. But it is our holiday gift guide, some of our holiday thoughts there. If you have thoughts on some great holiday gifts that you want to share with people out there, please go ahead and share your thoughts indeed. It is popculturecosmos@yahoo.com or popculturecosmos on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Go ahead and share it with us today. Bill Leonard, he did a great job sending us his thoughts on all the great things that are going on in our previous episodes. We got your emails, Bill. We truly appreciate your thoughts on inflation in games, where the prices are going, how they were when they back when, and how they are now. So we truly appreciate all your comments. That we're going through it as we speak. So truly appreciate everything out there. And also your thoughts on what we've been doing on the Monday show in regards to the memories we have of toy stores gone by. So thank you so much for the kind words and appreciation and your detail on your emails. And again, if you have any thoughts out there, please, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been a great episode. You had a fantastic interview today with the folks from Defiant. But
fun.
I'm sure it was, absolutely. It sounded fun. But any last thoughts on the way out?
Yeah, pick up Defiant. If you have somebody in your life who plays any of the World of Darkness games or even D&D, the Defiant game is a completely different animal, but in a lot of really great ways. So, you can pick up the PDF now on DriveThruRPG, or you can go to Kickstarter.com and you can pre-order the hard copy of the book, which will come your way sometime in February.
There you go. Defiant indeed. So for Melinda Barkhouse, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great